Yo, what's up, Zox fam? We're back with some more Etheria Restart. So we are literally days away from the massive update that's going to be taking place on the 25th. And really, it's the 24th for those of us that are in a different time zone. But we're going to go ahead and dive into it. I will say first and foremost, guys, I am out traveling. So you might have a couple of videos where you might see me here or with my webcam off. So I do apologize in advance. But yeah, so we're going to go ahead and dive right into it. Obviously, this update will be taking place on the 24th, so that's actually tomorrow at the recording of this video. We get 200 Hydra crystals for that, which is pretty cool. Now, as far as the new version update and the content that's coming with this, I know a lot of you guys watch me to keep up to see if it's worth returning into the game. I would say, honestly, right now is going to be the best time. So from the 25th to the 23rd of next month, there will be a 7-day login. So this is not a perma thing. This is going to be temporary. You need to get on the game if you want to make sure you're receiving this. You'll be able to get lattices, perfect lattices to be specific, enhanced prototypes, red shadow prints. And if you check in for 2 days, you'll also be able to get the Apex selection card where you can choose from either Messiah, Mio, Doki Doki, Heinrich, Lily, and or Shadow Sania and or Lilium, right? Which is huge boons to anyone's account. Now, they also said that they're going to additionally have a set for free where you'll be able to pick one of 6 Chiaku Ring outfits and one set from the 6 Animus outfits. So they're giving this away for free. Normally, you would either have to use crystals or spend real money to get that. So that's just more bang for your buck there, which is really good, right? Now, you can see here, this is going to be in the middle, that SSR LD selector ticket, and they're obviously hyping this up, checking for 2 days, get that SSR. Also, too, we already know that there's a new Sakura Bloom, Snow Bloom skin coming from Yelly. Honestly, this is what we've been asking for. This is exactly what players want. I mean, very straightforward in terms of really giving value to things like skins, right? And they said they're going to have some unique ones, so we'll have to just kind of wait and see how those are going to look. Now, they go to say that with this, they're going to have for veterans, which is very specific here, there's going to be a rerun banner for Yelly, okay? So we already kind of knew this was happening from the CN side because they were already, like, you know, advertising it as the potential rerun banner. So I know some people are like, you know, we currently got an LD banner up and then we're rotating into another rate up LD, but this is really intended for those that miss Yelly. So in reality, if you are coming back and you really want to get her, then absolutely aim for. New players are also going to have this exact same banner as well. And so that's going to be really huge for a lot of you guys to start out with, like those that's going to pick up, like, you know, the Plume, you know, Lily, and then get Yelly or something like that. Like, you're going to have an insane start. So, yeah, that's definitely something that is huge. Now, the other thing is, too, is that this is for new hyperlinkers, like I mentioned, and it's basically within 9 days of creating an account, you're guaranteed to receive the limited SSR Yelly from the Butterfly Watts banner. So it's an extreme affinity summon. And so, I mean, yeah, I would say personally, I would try to get that, to be honest, because Yelly is extremely powerful. Now, and also she just got buffed, but we're going to talk about that in a second. But either way, with that, we have the restart time for the limited time event coming soon, and it will last for 21 days. So these are for the returner users. So it's available upon hitting level 30, so you will have to hit that. If your account has not been logged in for 21 consecutive days, this will automatically trigger when you log in. Okay, so that means you have to be almost about a month of not playing, right? So in the new return event, you're going to basically be able to trigger additional rewards like perfect lattices, hydra crystals, quantum prototypes, as well as enjoying an exclusive return banner and double drop bonuses. So with this, if you log in for 14 days, you will be able to receive like those lattices, the SSR, quantum prototype ticket. And then on the returner path, which is also a 14-day login, you'll also be able to get more of those resources, anima prototypes, more lattices. The reunion grace is going to be double drops for the first 1,000 stamina during that event period each day that you have that up. And then you have the reunion letter. So a lot of people thought that this was just going to be an open selector, but the reunion letter is actually a selecting or a selection choice of 5 animuses who you'll be able to actually pick from: Veronica, Tsukiyomi, Klaus, Hoden, and Fuchi. I'll probably have another video for that on like who you should maybe pick up, because I'm going to be going on my returner account. So if you guys are not subscribed to the channel, make sure that you do, because I'll be going through that account, actually getting that up to par so that we can actually, you know, see what it looks like for a returner in terms of resources, progression, etc. Right now, of course, with this, we have the SS1 global season coming soon, so major changes will be announced with that. Obviously, there will be more outfits: Chiaku rings, home outfits, memory imprint for Mythic, player avatar cards, and arena badges for the top 3. So there's a lot of different things that they're going to be adding for that. We have the Summit Pass, which can be fulfilled for free if I'm not mistaken. And this is going to just be giving us more bang for our buck for arena. So yeah, we're not mad at that at all. I absolutely will take that. And then, of course, with this, we also are going to have something called the Stellar Shop, which is going to be added, which is going to be for cosmetic items. And then the Hyperlink Charter is going to be getting updated as well. So Arena Trial tasks now include new Summon Arena series of tasks. So that will be added to it as well, right? So with that, okay, let's actually get into some of the things. So these are the new seasonal adjustments. And I want to actually jump over to some of the seasonal balance changes that we actually have, because this is actually a pretty big deal, just in terms of what units have gotten nerfed, what units have gotten buffed, etc. Right? So as far as Animus related adjustments, the very first one here, and this was one of in my last video that I did where I was talking about units I wanted to see get buffed, they got Hellkid on here, right? So Hellkid actually is going to be getting a 30% increase to his damage on his skill 3, on both not only the damage but also the barriers going up by 30% of self attack to all allies. And then the Shroud barrier, the effect absorbs a damage equivalent to its value. While active, all allies are immune to all debuffs, and when Shroud Barrier effect expires, it increases allies' turn meter by 15%. Now, why is that a big deal? Is because it gives extra value to the shield being dissipated, right? Before, it really didn't do much, so it was just kind of like, okay, you have it up, it gets stripped, there's it, right? So it actually makes them a lot better, Now, SSR Doom Bloom Rosa, she's actually going to have on the Stalker ability, the second skill. So each time Rosa scores a crit hit, if the target is not affected by Bladeheart Bloom, will definitely afflict the target with Bladeheart Bloom for 1 turn. That's just to give more certainty or guarantee in her kit. And probably even just in terms of like, you know, DPS you typically will see. I think it's just trying to raise her stock a little bit so she's used a little bit more. And I also think that that's going to be really good for PvE, just to kind of guarantee that a lot more. I think like with PvE, we're trying to like also get closer to eliminating more of like the RNG. So it looks like they're kind of filling that gap in a little bit with Rosa. So, hey, we'll take it. Tsukiyomi. So the Bee Swarm second skill actually has an adjustment made to it. So deals damage equal to 320% of self-defense to all enemies, with a 45% chance to inflict silence for 1 turn, and reduce the cooldowns of skills for all allies and shells, including Tsukiyomi, by 1 turn. Now, I think before, if I'm not mistaken, if I'm looking at this currently, because I'll actually have her on my account, you might hear characters talking in the back real quick, but I'm almost certain that on that skill right now, I don't think this actually includes her. Yeah, so I don't think this actually includes her. So I guess they're emphasizing that this is now going to be including her, which is like, okay. I mean, that's always OP. So then again, you get more value there. So we'll take it. Born getting a buff. I mean, to be expected. He absolutely needed it. 330% on his parameters being raised, which is pretty big. Just because, again, with that, the healing is then going to go up to 100% of the damage dealt. So, yikes, he's going to be a little bit of a problem, because there's already people using him in like RTA and stuff like that at high elo. So, It's going to be real crazy for Born mains. Those that, invested in him already and already got him built up, they're going to be getting some crazy gameplay. And then when there are 4 or more than 4 surviving enemy units, dealing up to now 520% of damage to all enemies with a 100% chance to dispel 2 buffs from the target. I mean, to be honest, because buff stacking is a thing, that's really powerful. That is really, really powerful. So for each surviving enemy unit, deals an additional instance of 100% damage. This attack ignores target passive skills. That's insane. I'm not gonna lie, that's actually pretty insane. And the other thing with this too is that because this attack ignores target passive skills, this is like really good to counteract units like Plume, for example, who basically after like Born goes, normally would be a contributor to the turn meter manipulation that she has. Because he can ignore passives, he won't trigger it, which is kind of that's kind of nice, not gonna lie. Now with Enchanted Sheida, her Soul Essence second skill has actually been adjusted as well. So each evolution increases self attack by 18%, effect res by 30%, and crit damage by 10%, and then reduces the damage taken by 15% at a max of 3 evolutions. And this does stack. So that's kind of nice. That kind of gives her like some bulk build, and really not even just so much bulk, but like just really just being able to resist debuffs, land debuffs, and reduction of damage being taken. And it looks like they also added that reduction to the Soul Flame itself. So each stack you get that attack increase, effect res, crit damage, reducing the damage by 15%, and it cannot be dispelled. Now Nahor also is getting a adjustment here, so he deals 280% damage to a single enemy on the second skill with an 70% chance to dispel all buffs on the target and inflict block for 2 turns and freeze for a turn, so that's actually pretty big. Verdict, which is the third skill, they adjusted to a multi-hit attack with slight numerical dude, that being multi-hit is so messed up now. That's crazy. So before adjustment, the Horde deals 300% damage to all enemies with a 70% chance to inflict a defense down for 2 turns and inflict at a 50% chance a freeze for 1 turn. Man, so that becoming a multi-hit is going to be kind of crazy. That's actually what makes certain units like really OP. I'm not gonna lie, like units that are multi-hit of anything usually tend to be kind of ridiculous. Buff strippers, CCers, you name it. That's gonna raise stock insanely. And then after adjustments for this, Nahor deals 2 instances of 150% damage to all enemies, 60% chance to inflict defense down and res down for 2 turns, and 45% chance to inflict freeze for 1 turn. Who cares? He's still going to be basically hitting caps just about on everything that he possibly can. 2 hits, like I said, for the same damage parameter. I mean, I'd rather him be a multi-hitter than a single hitter. I mean, if you play this game enough, you rather have multi-hitters in most scenarios. Now with Nymphanael's second skill is actually getting adjusted as well. So Nymphanael equalizes HP percentage of all allies and then heals all allies for 25% of each target's max HP and cleanses 2 debuffs from each ally, which is huge because cleansing, that I don't think she actually had. So now she actually can give immunity and also cleanse, so her stock just went up a ton. Then Puppet Master Lilith second skill, what are they adding here? So you have the 24% of self max HP to all enemies with 100% chance to inflict speed down for 2 turns on all targets, deals 1 additional instance of damage equal to 25% of the main target's max HP to the main target, and this instance of damage cannot exceed 30% of her max HP. This of course has a 100% pushback on it, and then the Graceful Mischief effect also has it to where it's able to indirect deal damage equal to 30% of Lilith's max HP plus 25% of the afflicted unit's max HP to the target, and this damage cannot exceed 30% of her HP. 100% chance to inflict a stun for a turn. I mean, people are already starting to use Lilith, so now I just give her more reason to be used. Then Silence is getting some value raise here, so she has a new effect where at the start of battle applies a shield to all allies equal to 30% of her max HP. That's to kind of give a little bit more incentive in using her. Probably going to help out a little bit with like some of the nuke-isk like situations. And then the other thing is too, is that what they decide to give her on the skill 3 is when she deals that 4 instances of 75% damage to all enemies. Each hit has a 30% chance to now inflict, it looks like, a crit rate down and forgetfulness for 2 turns. Now, I think it's currently an attack down. So it should be shifting to that crit rate down, which is kind of nuts. Because if we're really being honest, like if you can reduce your enemies like critting, that's really where like things kind of get crazy, is when they're able to, or they're not able to do that doubling up of their damage. Now Hoyan is also getting a damage parameter increase, going from 450% to 520% single target damage on her skill 3. Honestly, that's for executing so that she can actually finish people. So that's literally why they did that, which makes sense. I mean, I think everything else in her kit is pretty okay. It's just she wasn't dealing enough damage to finish. And I think this actually puts her closer to back to where she was before the game's release. So, I mean, hey, we'll take it. Now we have Eternal Night Yelly. Arrow Spark is now buffed. So that, and then they also made it to where she has a 50% chance to steal 1 buff. So she has 20% more damage on the Arrow Spark. That's her skill 1. And then also, 50% chance now to steal a buff. What does this mean? This means that now she's more consistent and she's still going to be one of the best LD DPS in the game. If not even better, because she can actually steal buffs, which in some cases means that you won't even have to run a buff stripper, depending on the development of your account right away. So, I mean, hey, that's insane. Now, it looks like we're actually shifting into a couple of different things here with like just stat raises. So Sutsumo is actually getting some base stat raises, attacks going up, HP's going up, and defense going up. The reason why that's important is because that's going to affect his overall scaling when you add gear. I know he has like a crit mechanic that's really, really good. So that we could more than likely see him hitting even harder. He already hits pretty hard, right? People are actually starting to use him in high elo, or at least this passing season using him at high elo. So I feel like he's going to get more play. Now getting a speed increase is actually nuts. So at 6-star, her base speed is 123, which is actually going to be really good for PvE, but also give her a little bit more viability in PvP. Victor also getting an adjustment as well. So a second skill is going to be increased in damage to 12%. That I think actually might make him somewhat competent, if not more competent, because I feel like he was at like 15% before. Might have been at 12%, so they might have just rebuffed him back. I don't remember, but I know that this should definitely give him a little bit more stock in terms of the damage that he's actually done, because the 9% just isn't enough. And he's actually honestly one of the most underused characters in the game, from especially the LDs. So yeah, you know, that we'll see. We'll have to test that and see how much that actually affects him. So Rampage Ren actually has a now 100% chance to inflict taunt for 1 turn. That again is just making her more guaranteed. That's going to help out a ton in PvE. Definitely see some usage there in PvP. For Edge Ren, which is the blue Ren, Ren the Unbowed, she has a damage increase. So now she has 20% more damage. She was already one-shotting people, by the way. And now her additional damage has gone up by the per speed. So the 1 speed, so instead of it being 0.35%, it's now 0.45%. Oh man. I don't even know why they gave her a buff, but I guess they feel like she needs it, so there's that. And then SR Kazumi Kazuyo, exposing gaze. Now the cooldown of all Animus's target Animus skills is now going to be cooled down by 2 turns instead of 1. And then the foresight skill that she has of all allies is going to reduce the cooldown of all allies skills and their shells, and then also give them a speed up buff plus an accuracy up buff for 3 turns. So that just raised her stock immensely, and she was already pretty high in value for some of the threshold dungeons. So yeah, now she's just going to get even more play, and she's adding some extra value, and she's going to make those runs a lot smoother because she's able to increase the cooldowns of 1 more, but also at a higher interval. So that's really, really good. Now, what we have here is some nerfs, okay? Freaking Kazuyo the Revere. They're making her sleep only last for 1 turn. On the skill 1, because it is oppressive. And then what they're also doing is that each hit has a 100% chance to push back turn meter is now being dropped from 15 to 10%. Is that going to like break her or make her not usable? Not necessarily. I think it's going to maybe help with balancing her. I think she is like super overtuned. I mean, it's the reason why she's one of them like predominant CC units used this like passing season. Is that going to change her PvE value? I don't think so. Not at all. She still should work the same, because even in the setups, you're not really using her per se for that. As far as like the pushback and stuff like that, you're really using her to get the guaranteed sleep so you can have a nuker come in. So, you know, that's kind of that. RC77, third skill, getting buffed. 4 turns to 3 turns on the skill 3, which is actually really nice. That makes him more consistent. And I actually think that syncs him with some shells now. We're going to have to test that out. I think that actually syncs him with Revelation now. So the adjustment below is the final effect changes for Awakened Shell skills. So we got some shells also being adjusted as well. So before, and this is on Alicorn, they're actually buffing Alicorn to back where it was before, 3 buffs being removed instead of 2, because obviously debuff stacking is a thing and they need a real counter, and they had it, but I don't know why they adjusted it, but hey, we got it back now. So we got White Fang too, that's also being adjusted. So they're increasing the crit damage of White Fang to 8%, and the number of stacks is going down to 8. So you'll be able to not only hit it, not only achieve the stacks quicker, but the damage coming from the stacks is also going to be going or being adjusted to actually make that make sense in terms of the like 2 stacks you won't have. But you'll be able to achieve the stacks quicker. So it's really just a stack adjustment. Halloween is going to have it to where there's a 100% chance to reduce the cooldown of 1 random skill on cooldown by 1 turn. So that makes sense because Halloween is pretty underused. So it's giving it a little bit more value. And then Codex of Magic is getting a, it's kind of like stipulated nerf, because it's not a direct nerf. It's not going to affect PvE, which is all I care about. Don't let it affect PvE, but if it affects PvP, it makes sense. So in PvP modes, after being affected by Codex of Magic, skills that do not go on cooldown will have their maximum cooldowns permanently increased by a turn. Now, I think what this is doing is it's actually making it to where the rotations, it's adjusting how your units rotate into their next skill. Because keep in mind, you're still going to have the skill that was used by Codex not go down. You'll still be able to use it again, but those other skills, it's going to basically give a little bit of breathing room, so you're not able to just lay down a whole bunch of repressiveness, like 2 skill 3s and then a skill 2 into a skill 1 back into another. You know, it's really lightening the load. And then the arena effect that they're going to also be adjusting here is the close combat. So after all animuses have acted a certain cumulative number of times, damage dealt by both sides increased by 20%, and healing received and shields applied are reduced by 20%. And the first trigger requires 20% cumulative actions, and subsequent triggers require 15 cumulative actions. That's just so, again, I guess the fights don't last nearly as long. Kind of a little bit of a balance there, especially with the bruiser versus bruiser stuff going on. That's going to happen. So all in all, this is basically everything that we got going on, man. I would say, like, am I like, you know, upset or pleased with like the current changes? I feel like honestly everything that they kind of have set in motion is really what we expected it to be, at least what I speculated it to be. You know, they're making the proper shifts, they're setting up the game for returners. I think it's going to be a really good time for those that want to start again. So again, let me know how you guys personally feel about all this stuff. I think, again, it's pretty loaded. A lot of different things to take into consideration with all the buffs and the adjustments. A lot of this stuff, we got more retesting and a lot of things to do, but I think it's going to be pretty cool. So let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Appreciate you guys for tuning in. Everyone, stay blessed, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.